What's up, everyone? I'm Damien, and this is Ebuyer Live, the place where we bring to you the latest tips, tricks, deals, and updates. And today, my friends, it is no different. Today, we are talking about NordVPN and VPNs. That's a virtual private network for those who are in the know. So, online security is an ever-growing topic, and today we're going to be talking about some really cool stuff. So if you're live right now, why don't you say hello and we'll do a few shout outs in just a few minutes. However, I can't present this show on my own. I need a special guest. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Carolis. Hello, Carolis. How are you? How you
Hello,
doing?
Damien. Yeah, I'm great. Happy to be here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, all be considered, they don't need to know what happened to me yesterday, but let's just say I've got a few bruises. So, Carolis, for those of people who are out there who do not know who you are, could you just share with our audience what you do and a little bit about your job?
All right. So yes, I am a site reliability engineer by trade. Essentially, this means I am a person that is responsible for a service being up and working all the time. So I work at NordVPN, obviously, and my team is specifically responsible for the VPN service itself and making sure that it's always working, that you can always connect, and that you can always secure your online life while connected. So this is essentially what I do day to day, just making sure that everyone is secure.
It sounds like an important role. How long have you been doing that for?
So I've been here at NordVPN for around 3.5 years now, probably even a bit
Mhm.
longer now. It's difficult to count, but yes,
Yeah,
essentially that's how long I've been taking care of this.
fantastic. And just to remind me again, what was your job title?
Lead site reliability engineer.
Lead
That's how it
site
sounds, very technical.
engineer. Lead site reliability engineer.
Yes.
That sounds very, very important. So, Carolis, we do have a number of people in chat, so we're just going to do a few shout outs. Chris Smith, good afternoon. Angus Prune, Chillin TV, David Grant, Usman Khan, Liam Kingswell, Tony Richards Pills. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where in the world you are. It's morning for me. It's good afternoon for you, isn't it, Carolis?
Yes, it's just after lunchtime where I am. So wonderful day outside. Kind of, same as everyone when sun's shining so high up, we all want to be outside. But I'm
Oh,
really
yes.
happy to be here.
Yeah, we do. We do indeed. We do indeed. So, guys, if you don't know quite what's going on, essentially what we're going to be doing for the next 30 minutes or so, Carolis and I will be talking about NordVPN and VPNs, and we'll be dropping some knowledge bombs. So, if you want to know a little bit about virtual private networks, or you know somebody who should be using a virtual private network, then make sure to stick around or even at them to let them know about this live stream. And also, sharing is caring. So, like, comment, and share away. Right. So that's a few things out of the way. What we're going to do before we jump in and go through some really cool features about NordVPN, I think it's probably best that we talk about just VPNs in general, if that sounds all right with you, Carolis.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so if we get right into what a VPN is, it's as Damien said, it stands for a virtual private network.
Yeah.
In essence, if you distill it down to what people normally, well, consumers normally use it for, it's
Mhm.
essentially a service that aims to improve your security and privacy online. Um, it generally does this by establishing a strong and encrypted tunnel between your devices and a VPN server.
Yeah.
Um, Such a tunnel where, because it's encrypted, no one can eavesdrop and see what's inside it. And then your device would normally route all of your internet traffic through the VPN server. And the VPN server will be the one responsible for sending it onwards. In such a way, it just prevents people from eavesdropping on your connection as well
Yeah.
as improves your security and privacy online.
Fantastic. Can you think of any examples of why, specifically of why a VPN would be used?
Mhm. So a very good and common example for many of us is, for example, public Wi-Fi. Say if you are on public Wi-Fi, you should always use a VPN because you simply do not know who else is on that Wi-Fi and what
Yeah,
reasons they have for being on that Wi-Fi. See, say you're in a coffee shop, you might be browsing, online, visiting your bank, visiting your social media, visiting some other sites, or visiting even
yeah,
some information that it might be secret to you. And if someone is lurking there on the same network, then they might be at least attempting to interrupt your traffic stream and get a glimpse at what's inside.
yeah.
Whereas if you're using a VPN, because there's an encrypted tunnel established from your computer all the way to the VPN server, the whole traffic stream essentially looks like a load of gibberish to an attacker, and it becomes really difficult to compromise your security. Um, so
Okay,
that's
so I mean,
one
sorry.
good reason. Mhm.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yes, that's a fantastic example of a coffee shop, because I suppose it is when you go to if you go to a coffee shop, you don't know if you're jumping onto the official coffee shop's Wi-Fi either. I suppose you just someone could be lurking in the coffee shop, and they could be using um, their favorite coffee shop brand network as a name, and
Yes.
yeah, you could be jumping onto someone else's personal Wi-Fi, and yeah, so
Yeah.
that's probably a good reason to have NordVPN or a VPN, a virtual private network.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you just don't know what you're connected to if you don't
Yeah,
control, the network access point itself. If it's not your home router, then you simply don't know what you're connecting to. You might look at it. It looks like your coffee shop's name, but then again, are you really sure? So
yeah,
it's better be
yes,
safe than sorry, basically.
indeed. Okay, so the next question for you is that a lot of people seem to think that you need a VPN if you're gonna. The reason why you have a VPN is you're up to things that you shouldn't quite be up to. Is this a misconception?
It generally is a very big misconception. I mean, VPN is same as any other technology. In fact, a VPN itself is a very fundamental technology to how
Yeah,
the internet itself works. You have various types of virtual private networks all around, and without them, you couldn't even have the internet the way it is today. Um, but generally, a VPN can be used for many great reasons, including security and privacy, or accessing content that you should be able to access to, but then you might not be able to just due to some restrictions or limitations in where you're at. And it's a very great reason to use a VPN, and they in itself, they just provide you with the ability to access content that you should, and protect you. And as we see it, it makes a VPN a very good product to use.
yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you, Carolis. Guys, if you have any questions about virtual private networks or NordVPN, drop them in below, and we'll do our best to read them out, and Carolis will be answering all of your questions. Right, so I've got another question for you about VPNs. This is probably more about securing data online. So how does a VPN? I think you've kind of covered this already, but I want to word it in a question so it's make sure that people who are watching completely understand the technology. How does a VPN help protect you online, i.e., like viewing websites?
So if you take the case of viewing websites, then of course, normally when you go to a website, you type in the address in your web browser and you go to website, you see that little lock icon next to your address bar that
Yeah,
essentially means that your connection is encrypted and secure. Well, first of all, not every website has that, although I'm very happy to say that most websites nowadays do. But still some websites don't have that little lock icon, which essentially indicates that the traffic to the website is encrypted and that no one else can eavesdrop it. So. So first of all, it protects on any website that does not have encryption.
hmm,
Secondly, some websites might not have encryption implemented properly. There have been many standards of encryption over the years, and some have, become deprecated over time. It doesn't mean that the website necessarily updated from those standards. And,
yeah,
if they're using older standards, it might still compromise your security. And even then, not even if you're visiting your websites, not all of your traffic is encrypted. There's still certain requests which normally go unencrypted through the internet
Yeah.
that someone can eavesdrop you. So even if you're using encrypted websites, it's still a very good idea to put that extra encryption layer on top.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can build a website these days, can't they? You don't need to know the code
Exactly.
behind behind the lines or the screen to be able to actually make a website. So yeah, it protects you in that way. We do have a question from a Chris Smith. Says VPN slow down the network speed of any connection. What makes Nord any better than others?
Generally, a VPN does slightly, of course, slow down the connection, and this is completely normal because you still have the encryption process on top. So encryption
Hmm.
does take some processing power from both your computer and the website you are connecting to.
Yeah.
There's some extra computation has to happen, so it's natural that the process is slightly slowed down. At the same time, you have some extra metadata in the packet as forms of encryption headers, if I'm getting technical, that has to travel in the packet. However, we really proud ourselves at NordVPN at being very focused on connection quality and speed and trying to get as much speed from the VPN as possible. So the VPN itself is as transparent as possible, and so that you
Hmm.
don't really feel that you're even connected. So we really focus on the speed aspect.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. With in everything that you said there, obviously. From personal experience, when I've used NordVPN, I've got particularly fast internet at my home address. However, I can still get in a region of 300 megabytes a second download speed, which is completely adequate, when for everyday use, pretty much. So, Chris Smith, thank you very much for that question. Lovely. Anyone else? If you have a question, please type it into the comments, and we'll address those questions for you. Right. So I have another question for you, Carolis. Again, we're on the lines of security, securing data online. Um, so we've talked about websites, but the majority of people actually use apps. How can a VPN be used there?
Um, so when you're using an app, a VPN can become even more important. So in the case of the website, you did have that little lock icon, which indicated that your connection is at least encrypted and by the website. Whereas in an app, you don't really have that lock icon anywhere. So in essence, that means that you have to trust the app developer to have taken care of the security aspect for you.
Yeah.
Now, whether they actually did or did not, it's very difficult to verify. If you are very technical, if you're able to look at network traffic yourself, then you might be able to verify whether they did take care of the security aspect. But even then, you might not be able to verify how how strict with their security they are. You might only be able to
Yeah.
see that there's some security on top. So a VPN is a really good safeguard where it makes sure that all of your traffic is encrypted, regardless of if it's an app or website. So if you can't verify it, then at least you have the peace of mind that it's definitely encrypted.
Fantastic. Again, just like, as I said with websites, pretty much anybody can throw it together an app these days,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you know there are a lot of people out there who don't even look at the permissions when the app ask for permissions for GPS, for data, for camera, for contacts. A lot of people just go allow just so they can actually use the app or play the game. So yeah, it's a really good point. It's very fantastic. Okay. um, Right, so that is some really good information about virtual private networks. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to move on to talk about using unsecured connections. So I think we will just talk roughly or about people who travel. I think that's probably a good place to start with.
Mhm.
So how would a virtual private network help someone who travels a lot?
Yeah. So if you are traveling, then obviously it will sort of go back to the same coffee shop example we had earlier, where
Yeah,
you might be in the airport, you might be in a coffee shop in another country, or you might be on your hotel's Wi-Fi, or
yeah,
or your Airbnb's Wi-Fi, etc. Generally, if you're traveling, it means that you have no control over the internet connection you're on.
hmm,
So you're always connecting to networks which are not controlled by you or anyone you know, which means that you simply are not aware what is on those networks or who is on those networks. So if someone else on the network, they can constantly try to intercept your traffic, they can try to read it, they can try to even bombard your computer with attempts to hack. But generally, the easiest method that most hackers would use is to try to intercept your traffic and try to read what's inside it. So if you are using a VPN, then when you open the VPN app and you press connect, then there's an encrypted tunnel establishment. So it establishes a tunnel to the VPN server. Once that is done, every piece of traffic that leaves your computer goes through that tunnel, which means it is encrypted. Even if it was encrypted before, it's encrypted another time on top. And if it wasn't, then it is encrypted the first time. And then if anyone else is on that network and tries to intercept the traffic and look at what's inside, they simply can't, because to them it's a load of gibberish ones and zeros that they can't really read.
Okay, no, I mean it's one of those. I love how it's a technology that that is completely available to absolutely everybody these days. Though when you watched any TV show from the 80s and 90s about the data being encrypted and different locations and all that sort of thing, it was all very science fiction, and yet this is a product that's absolutely available to everybody, which is really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Brilliant. So, what about blocked websites? How can a VPN help block websites?
So it generally, when you have a blocked website, it's normally blocked in your network or in your country, and where you're at, and you just try to access that website. And if it's blocked, there's no way to do it. When you use a service like NordVPN, like say in our case, we have over 5,000 servers in many locations all around the world. And usually the websites will only be blocked from a certain locations. Say, a website in US might not allow visitors from the EU, as an example, or, a website in UK might not allow visitors from outside of the UK. So if you connect to a server that is in the vicinity of the website you're trying to access, then normally they will not block it. So when you connect to VPN, you no longer appear as if you are connecting from the physical location where you're at. Instead, to the website, you appear as if you are connecting from the VPN server. So as an example, say I want to connect to a website in UK that only allows UK traffic, but I'm sitting, let's say in, somewhere in Asia. If I connect to a VPN server in UK, then to the website, I appear as if I am from UK, and they will allow me to access it.
Yeah, I had exactly the same situation. 2 and a bit years ago, I was on holiday in Orlando, and I was in my hotel, and I wanted to watch the program I was watching at the time. I can't remember which one it was, but I couldn't watch it because I didn't have the access, and I didn't have a VPN at that time. So I went without watching my favorite show.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't miss an episode, can you? You shouldn't.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We do have a couple of questions in chat, Carolis, so I'm going to read them out for you, okay? So we've got a question from Saqib Khan. Does NordVPN take any measures to ensure that payment details can't be linked to account usage or IP assignments?
It really depends on how you are doing it, because obviously if you are a VPN is sort of a piece of the entire security puzzle, right? It protects your traffic, it encrypts your traffic from your computer to the VPN server. But say if you are logged into a website and then you try to make a payment, that obviously it's still tied to your account. And if there's information in your account, then it's still identifiable. But generally, if in general, in VPN's case, we don't have any logs on you. We have no idea what you're doing, and we don't track you at all. We actually have a no logs policy that's on the website. So we since we don't know anything about you and we don't track your connection statistics, we have no way of linking any information to you whatsoever.
Brilliant. Thank you, Carolis, and thank you, Saqib, for that fantastic question. Guys, if you don't know what's going on at the moment, we are currently streaming live we're talking about virtual private networks and NordVPN. So if you have any questions about virtual private networks or know somebody who should be using a virtual private network, then this is the stream for you and for them. And also, caring is sharing. So please like, comment, and share away. If you have any questions for Carolis, please put them into chat. We do have another question from a Max Maruti. Very sorry if that's not how you spell your surname. I'm really bad with names. They've asked a VPN tech question. They want to know the differences between Mulvad and Nord.
Generally, I won't really compare us to our competitors, because Molotov is obviously another consumer-grade VPN that you can use. Generally, we are pretty much the biggest VPN there is, and we strive really to focus on our customer and its needs, and making sure that they are as secure and online as they can be, that everything's private to them, and that they can serve the internet as fast as they can. So from our point of view, we're really customer centric, and we really try to take care of our customers and make sure that you get the best that you can. So that's really as much as I can say on this topic.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Carolis. Thank you very much. And thank you, Max, for that question. So, what about working in restricted environments? How could a VPN help there?
Right. So if you are in a restricted environment, then obviously, it's likely that your network is being monitored in some way. And, say, for example, you might be disallowed to access certain websites, of course, but generally that might mean that, someone is looking at your network and trying to find some patterns of your activity, and in such a way, catch you doing certain things they don't want you to be doing. So it's really relevant to work of people such as human rights activists, whistleblowers, journalists, etc., for whom it's very, very important that the connection is very, very secure and that no one can really trace their steps. And in such a scenario when you're a restricted network, then VPN is really a big major part of your security puzzle, in that it allows you to appear as if you are no longer in the restricted network, as if you are somewhere else, and then you can access the information that you need to do your work and do your browsing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, fantastically, really good information there, Carolis. I was just thinking of fictional characters who would probably be using a VPN for restricted environments, and I was like, I'm pretty sure if the Soldiers of Fortune, the A-Team, were around in 2022 and were real, of course, they would probably be using a virtual private network. Guys in chat, can you think of anybody who a fictional character who would be using a virtual private network? And thank you so much so far for your comments and questions. Please keep them coming. We'll get through to every single one of them. Right, so now you know what a VPN is, a virtual private network. Now's part of the show where we're going to demo some NordVPN features, some really cool features. So we do have some videos. The first feature is a feature called Kill Switch. So let's cue VT.
When all else fails, you still have the last line of defense, the big red button. It's NordVPN's special feature, the Kill Switch. NordVPN's Kill Switch automatically disconnects you from the internet in case you lose VPN protection. You'll be reconnected once VPN is restored, or when you disable the function. Here are 3 cases when the Kill Switch is key. 1. You're a journalist or political activist who works in a country ruled by an authoritarian government. A VPN kill switch will serve as a last line of defense. 2. You handle sensitive or classified information for work. The kill switch is a great way to protect your data from leaks and unexpected connection interruptions. 3. You want to protect your online accounts. Losing access to your social media is not the end of the world, but it's still a nightmare. The kill switch will make sure your passwords and other data can't be intercepted if the VPN connection drops. When you're using NordVPN, the probability of a connection failure is low, but it's possible. For example, it can happen because of an unstable internet connection. A weak Wi-Fi signal, timeouts, or constant switching between mobile internet and Wi-Fi hotspots can disrupt your connection to the VPN server. Your firewall or antivirus might also block NordVPN. To fix this issue, add NordVPN to the firewall's list of exceptions, and turn on Auto Connect to make sure you stay connected to a VPN server after a computer reboot. Finally, server timeouts and failures are very uncommon, but they are possible. NordVPN has our 5,000 servers, which are kept in secure locations with constant supervision. And yet, they are physical boxes, vulnerable to damage like any other physical object. When the unexpected happens, the kill switch keeps you safe. So, don't wait and get NordVPN immediately. The kill switch will make sure you're extra safe when on.
Right, so Gareth, first off, you please tell me that the kill switch is a giant red button.
It essentially is a very big giant red button, except you prepare that button to be pressed and then it presses itself automatically when the time comes. You don't even have to wait by the button and have your hand ready.
Right. Okay, so what? Just run through. I mean, obviously the video explained a lot. Just run through a little bit about kill switch. And guys in chat, if you can imagine what a kill switch would look like, how would you describe what the NordVPN kill switch would? What would it be? Would it be a giant red button? Would it be a lever? Or would it be a break glass thing with a little hammer? I can think of all sorts of things. So yeah, why would people need this feature?
Yeah, so the kill switch feature essentially makes sure that you are always secure online, and that in case something happens to your connection, if something drops, if there's an issue with your route, if you're going from Wi-Fi to LTE, if you're going, if there's an issue with some hop in between you and the VPN server, or if there's an issue with the VPN server, as it is,
yeah.
It makes sure that none of your traffic leaks out. And this is very important, especially in cases where you really want to take care of your privacy, and it's not just the case of being generally secure online, but especially if, for example, you are an activist or a journalist. It's really critical for you that in the worst case scenario, if something happens, and something does happen because the internet is essentially just a collection of a bunch of physical devices that can fail, that you are still secure and private and that nothing leaks out. So it's essentially that big red button that's waiting there for you and make sure that nothing leaks out and that you're always secure.
We have Ebuyer actually in chat, and they believe it's a giant red button. That's what they envision it to be. I just want to clarify how the kill switch works. So, is it something that you physically do yourself as the user, or is it an automatic feature?
It's something that you enable in the settings. It's normally disabled by default. It's not something that users would expect after normal connection or in a normal case scenario, but you just go to your app settings and you'll find your kill switch button and just click enable. And once that's done, then whenever the VPN connection drops, it will automatically disable all internet traffic until a VPN connection is reestablished. So it's essentially a toggle in your settings.
Very, very useful feature. Sounds like a very useful feature. Before we jump on to the next feature, I do have another question from chat from Johnny Craig. Is a VPN recommended for everyday use, as I normally see it as being used for people trying to access non-geographical content, such as buying Game Pass or Netflix from another country? I think we kind of answered this question, but if you just want to just go back over that for us again, Carolis.
Yeah, we did touch on it before, but generally, a VPN should probably be used in everyday use because it just helps secure your traffic online. As I mentioned earlier, not every website will have encryption. Not every app will have encryption. And even if they do, there's no guarantee that the encryption is, fully correctly implemented. So it's an extra layer of security. It's an extra piece of the whole security puzzle that provides you with the peace of mind and the privacy that you should have.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great question again, Johnny. Thank you very much. Liam Kingswell believes that the kill switch is an actual switch, a little silver deadly one. I'm not quite sure what he means there. Does he mean light switch? Like that? I don't know. Right. So we have another feature called CyberSec, and we have another video. So again, QVT.
That feeling when you're on a mission to find something on the web and flashy ads keep getting in your way. Luckily, there's something that can get you through the ad jungle, an ad blocker. In this video, we'll tell you more about ad blockers and introduce you to CyberSec, a handy solution by NordVPN that saves you not only from ads, but from cyber threats as well. A basic ad blocker is an application that detects and removes advertising content on websites. Now, NordVPN CyberSec is more than just an ad blocker. CyberSec not only helps you to avoid flashy ads, this way making sites load faster and saving some precious mobile data, CyberSec also protects you from phishing scams and prevents you from entering malicious websites. How? It compares the address of every website you're about to visit against a vast database of blacklists. If you try to enter a site known for hosting malware, spyware, or other malicious software, CyberSec reacts immediately and blocks your access. The CyberSec feature comes in the NordVPN apps for iOS, macOS, Windows, Linux, and NordVPN browser extensions for Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox. All it takes is to flip a switch to turn CyberSec on and enjoy secure and ad-free browsing. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
Oh, that sounds super, super helpful. Super helpful. We'll jump into a few details about CyberSec in just a second. But guys, we are streaming for the next half an hour about virtual private networks, and we are currently talking about NordVPN features. So if you have any questions about virtual private networks, we've had loads so far. Put them into chat. We'll get through to those at some point. And if you know somebody who should be using a virtual private network, then let them know about this stream. CyberSec. Right, there were loads of different things that it can do. It blocks those annoying ads. You know, when you're looking for top 5 video editing features or top 5 microphones. I'm just telling you what I search for these days. But when you go into all these blogs, you get all these really, really annoying adverts, and that's one of the features that gets rid of or blocks these adverts, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I noticed that there was a couple of, I think it mentioned Chrome extensions. So is that something that you need to install or activate additionally to having NordVPN on your device?
No, you can do it on the Chrome extension stick, because we do have browser extensions as well, but you can just do it on your NordVPN app. So again, it's a part of your settings. So if you go to your NordVPN app settings, whichever platform you use, you'll see the CyberSec feature that you can toggle on. So once that's done, essentially the whole blocking happens on the network layer itself. So even before you can reach the website that's known for serving ads, or if it's known for serving malware or other security threats, we'll block it immediately. So as soon as you enable it on one of your apps, you're fine. You don't have to do both in the app and in the browser.
Fantastic, fantastic. So guys, just to clarify, you don't need to have the extension if you have the actual application itself. What are some of the other features of CyberSec, and why would you need them?
Other than ad blocking, we really take great care to block known malware domains. So these are domains which are known to serving malicious files to your computer that you can infect your computer and do all sorts of nasty things. So we try to block them even before you reach them. That means that you can never get to them while using NordVPN, and in such a way you're prevented from any potential issues with downloading malware. And even if you have certain malware on your computer, in a lot of cases, it will try to connect to certain websites to send information about you, etc. In which case, if you already do have one and you say your antivirus did not catch it, then we also try to help here by blocking known domains where that data about you might be sent. So when you have NordVPN on, then nothing can get through, and that helps your security as well.
Yes, thank you, guys. I know we're having a couple of issues with our connection, so just bear with us. Stay around if you can hear us, and we're not going anywhere. We're talking about VPNs and NordVPN, and currently we're talking about CyberSec. Yes, so we have had somebody in chat, Ross Bailey, say basically he uses a different application to block adverts. Now, this is something that a colleague of mine was doing very recently, was having one application doing one thing, another application doing something else, another application doing something else. And I know from my personal perspective, I'm a gamer, I like to have the least amount of applications running on my device at any time. So I don't like to have a list of various different applications. And NordVPN has many features that cover all these different applications. And that's what my colleague actually discovered, was like, hey, actually, I don't need an ad blocker. I don't need this. I don't need that. I could just use NordVPN, which is pretty cool. Right, so we have another feature. I don't believe we have a video for this one, which I'm kind of disappointed about. But this next feature is called Nord Links. So, Carolus, I was on a website the other day and I saw Nord Links pop up. What is it?
So you can think of NordLynx as a VPN language, really. So if you imagine the VPN itself, there's many different flavors or languages of VPN, as you can call them. For example, OpenVPN is a very old and well-known one. The IPsec suite, which includes IK version 2, which we support, which is a very well-known one, and many other ones. But NordLynx is essentially another VPN language, which is very nimble, very fast, and very secure. So it's built on top of a VPN protocol called WireGuard, which came to light a few years ago, essentially came from the Linux community. It's a very opinionated security protocol and very small and simple, in a sense that it takes care of your security very strictly, but it also requires only a very small code base comparatively to, say, the big behemoths like OpenVPN or IPsec. And in such a way, it also becomes very simple to audit and ensure that it's secure. And also because it's very small, and because of the way it's implemented, it's actually very fast. It requires very little overhead and requires comparatively very little computational power. And so it's a VPN protocol that both is our fastest VPN protocol that we have. It barely, barely works, barely reduces your connection speed, and in many cases it can even increase your connection speed. And at the same time, it's very simple and very easy to audit, which means you can be completely sure that it's going to be safe for years to come.
Yeah, it was really cool. What community did you say that was it? Linux community? Did you say that, or Linux community?
Linux, yeah, correct. It
Yeah.
essentially comes from that world.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's very good. Guys, if you are still having a few issues with connection, try refreshing your browser, and hopefully you're still with us. I noticed there was a few people drop off at one moment, but you all seem to be coming back. So if you have any questions about virtual private networks or NordVPN, drop them into chat and we'll get through to your questions. So far we have we've sort of discussed what a VPN is and why you would need it, and all the various different reasons of why you would need a VPN. And so far we have also gone through a few of the main features of NordVPN. So we've gone through kill switch, which Ebuyer, I believe, imagine this big red button that you hammer down to kill your connection. CyberSec, Nord Links, and then we have one more feature to talk about, which is double VPN, which is a great name. What's double V? I suppose it is what it says on the tin. What is double VPN, Carolus?
So a double VPN is essentially a type of VPN which goes through more than one, or in this specific case, two VPN servers before it's being let out into the open world. In our case, in pretty much every case, these servers are even in a different country. from each other. So as an example, for example, you might be connecting to a WPN server, which is say in Sweden, and then that server in Sweden will jump to a different server, which might be in UK. And from that server, it will go onwards to your destination website. This is very, very important for people for whom privacy is a top priority concern, for those people who care more about privacy than, say, their connection speed. So naturally, by jumping over to VPNs, you have two pieces of encryption that has to happen. So WPN servers are generally a bit slower, but they heighten your security and privacy significantly compared to a single hop VPN server.
Again, I'm just going back to the 90s. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of films of Keanu Reeves and young Keanu Reeves and that sort of thing. Where there were spy spoofs and all that sort of stuff, and their connection was dotted around to the various different locations. All sounds very sci-fi indeed. Double VPN, ladies and gentlemen, what a feature. We have some more questions coming through, Carolis. So we've got a question from a guy called Angus. Would a VPN affect my son who is working from home on my connection as a programmer?
It's very difficult to say in what type of way it would affect your son, but generally it would keep his connection private from your connections. And if you are on a VPN, your connection will be private from your son. Both of you would be secure, but you can also connect to different locations. And say, for example, if you care about accessing websites in different countries, then you both can connect to different places and access different websites. So you are both completely secure, and your connections are private. And generally, there's no easy way to tell that you are together in the same place unless you're logged into the same account somewhere. But generally, the connections are completely separate from each other, and one will not affect the other in any way.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. Great question, Angus. Thank you. We also have a question from a Ross Bailey. How do you set up NordVPN on your router? Which routers are supported?
Yes, so we do support manual VPN connection setup. So in certain cases, you don't have to use the app, and you can use manual VPN configurations, such as in the case of your router. So we do have a list of all the routers that we do support on our website. It's in our support pages, so you can find the list always there, including the instructions on how to set them up on a common one. And if there's no guide for your particular router, then definitely give a shout to our customer success team. Just ping them on the chat on the website, and they will be happy to help and see if there's any guide even being developed for that router at that particular point in time. And if there is, you'll get access to it early.
Brilliant. Thank you, Carolis. Guys, we are coming to the end of our stream. So we have covered what a VPN is and why you would need it. We've talked about kill switch, cybersec, NordLynx, and double VPN, all main features for NordVPN. If you want to find out more information about NordVPN, you can go to www.ebuyer.com/NordVPN. I'm sure Ebuyer, who are currently in chat, will be able to share that link for you. I want to thank everybody who has been hanging around and watching the stream and asking some pretty fantastic questions. Carolis, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking your time today to talk about VPNs, virtual private networks, and NordVPN. Guys, also, if you have any questions as well that you want to direct to Ebuyer, you can go to you can send emails through to solutions@ebuyer.com. Carolis, it's been a massive pleasure. Thank you very much for your help today.
Likewise, Damien, very much a pleasure. It's been very, very fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it as well. So let's repeat it sometime in the future.
Guys, thank you so much for hanging around in chat and answering, like I said, asking some great questions. I've been Damien Reed. He's been Carolis. We'll see you soon.